Discourage litigation. Persuade your neighbors to compromise whenever you can. As a peacemaker, the lawyer has superior opportunity of being a good man. There will still be business enough. I want it said of me by those who knew me best, that I always plucked a thistle and planted a flower where I thought a flower would grow. Surely God would not have created such a being as man, with an ability to grasp the infinite, to exist only for a day. No, no, man was made for immortality. What kills a skunk is the publicity it gives itself. Stand with anybody that stands right, stand with him while he is right and part with him when he goes wrong. These men ask for just the same thing, fairness, and fairness only. This, so far as in my power, they, and all others, shall have. If there is anything that a man can do well, I say let him do it. Give him a chance. Common-looking people are the best in the world, that is the reason the Lord makes so many of them. The way for a young man to rise is to improve himself in every way he can, never suspecting that anybody wishes to hinder him. True patriotism is better than the wrong kind of piety. Allow the president to invade a neighboring nation whenever he shall deem it necessary to. Repel an invasion, and you allow him to do so whenever he may choose to say he deems it necessary for such purpose, and you allow him to make war at pleasure. A man watches his pear tree day after day, impatient for the ripening of the fruit. Let him attempt to force the process, and he may spoil both fruit and tree. But let him patiently wait, and the ripe pear at length falls into his lap. With public sentiment, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. Gold is good in its place, but loving, brave, patriotic men are better than gold. Everybody likes a compliment. Slavery is founded in the selfishness of man's nature, opposition to it is his love of justice. These principles are an eternal antagonism, and when brought into collision so fiercely, as slavery extension brings them, shocks and throes and convulsions must ceaselessly follow. When the white man governs himself, that is self-government, but when he governs himself and also governs another man, that is more than self-government, that is despotism. I don't know who my grandfather was, I am much more concerned to know what his grandson will be. I pass my life in preventing the storm from blowing down the tent, and I drive in the pegs as fast as they are pulled up. Repeal the Missouri Compromise, repeal all compromises, repeal the Declaration of Independence, repeal all past history, you still cannot repeal human nature. It will be the abundance of man's heart that slavery extension is wrong, and out of the abundance of his heart, his mouth will continue to speak. I have great respect for the semicolon, it is a mighty handy little fellow. My paramount object in this struggle is to save the Union, and is not either to save or to destroy slavery. If I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it, and if I could save it by freeing some and leaving others alone, I would also do that. A woman is the only thing I am afraid of that I know will not hurt me. I can make more generals, but horses cost money. I never had a policy, I have just tried to do my very best each and every day. When I hear a man preach, I like to see him act as if he were fighting bees. Fellow citizens, we cannot escape history. We, of this Congress and this administration, will be remembered in spite of ourselves. No personal significance, or insignificance, can spare one or another of us. The fiery trial through which we pass will light us down in honor or dishonor, to the latest generation. I am rather inclined to silence doubt with the fearful strain that is on me night and day. If I did not laugh I should die. These capitalists generally act harmoniously and in concert to fleece the people, and now that they have got into a quarrel with themselves, we are called upon to appropriate the people's money to settle the quarrel. I desire so to conduct the affairs of this administration that if at the end I have lost every other friend on earth, I shall at least have one friend left, and that friend shall be down inside of me. We here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Let not him who is houseless pull down the house of another, but let him work diligently and build one for himself, thus by example assuring that his own shall be safe from violence when built. Public sentiment is everything. With public sentiment, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can succeed. Standing as I do, with my hand upon this staff, and under the folds of the American flag, I ask you to stand by me so long as I stand by it. To give victory to the right, not bloody bullets, but peaceful ballots only, are necessary. Never regret what you don't write. Everyone desires to live long, but no one would be old. Our defense is in the preservation of the spirit which prizes liberty as a heritage of all men, in all lands, everywhere. Destroy this spirit and you have planted the seeds of despotism round your own doors. We should be too big to take offense and too noble to give it. If I were two-faced, would I be wearing this one? I care not much for a man's religion whose dog and cat are not the better for it. Don't interfere with anything in the Constitution. That must be maintained, for it is the only safeguard of our liberties. Any people anywhere, being inclined and having the power, have the right to rise up and shake off the existing government, and form a new one that suits them better. This is a most valuable, a most sacred right, a right, which we hope and believe, is to liberate the world. When you have got an elephant by the hind legs and he is trying to run away, it's best to let him run. If once you forfeit the confidence of your fellow citizens, you can never regain their respect and esteem. There is no grievance that is a fit object of redress by mob law. Books serve to show a man that those original thoughts of his aren't very new at all. I know that the Lord is always on the side of the right, but it is my constant anxiety and prayer that I and this nation may be on the Lord's side. It is not my nature, when I see a people borne down by the weight of their shackles, the oppression of tyranny, to make their life more bitter by heaping upon them greater burdens. But rather would I do all in my power to raise the yoke than to add anything that would tend to crush them. As our case is new, we must think and act anew. Don't swap horses in crossing a stream. In giving freedom to the slave, we assure freedom to the free, honorable alike in that we give in what we preserve, we shall nobly save, or meanly lose, the last best hope of earth. I hold that while man exists, it is his duty to improve not only his own condition, but to assist in ameliorating mankind. Hold on with a bulldog grip, and chew and choke as much as possible. I was born and have ever remained in the most humble walks of life. Someday I shall be president. The leading rule for the lawyer, as for the man of every calling, is diligence. The mystic cords of memory, stretching from every battlefield and patriot grave to every living heart and hearthstone, all over this broad land, will yet swell the chorus of the Union. When again touched, as surely they will be, by the angels of our nature. Knavery and flattery are blood relations.